Finish him. Or her?
Welcome. And today we'll dive into a couple of great pro-revenge stories and their reactions. Coming up we have: refuse to pay $60 to fix my roof, okay, I'll close your building site down, and cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Plus we have: try to blackmail me? I'll ruin your life. I just know you're gonna love these stories, so this should be a fun session. Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his pen so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. If this is your first time watching our videos, help me out by watching to the end, and then giving me some feedback in the comment area below. I do respond to every single one, so don't be shy. And if you want more of these videos daily, don't forget to like and subscribe, with notifications turned on for this channel. Oh boy, let's get ready for some deep-seated revenge. Hasad82 posted: refuse to pay $60 to fix my roof, okay, I'll close your building site down, and cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Names, places, and time frames have been changed as per rules. Characters in this story: my friend, who I will call Brian. Bullying demolition man, we will call Keith. Greedy property developer, we will call Karen, and the insurance assessor. This tale of this nuclear revenge happened a while back and is a work in progress. It is too good not to tell, and I will try and keep you updated down the track. Brian's neighbor is a typical greedy career landlord that left their rental house in disrepair. The poor tenant was living in the cold house, raw sewage leaking onto the lawn, and holes in the house that you could see light coming out of the house. After multiple requests from Brian, Karen refused to get any repairs done. When the state government introduced new laws about ensuring landlords are insulating their rental properties, instead of doing this to the house, Karen kicked their tenant out and left the house vacant for 5 years. The old house deteriorated so much more during this time, with rats infesting the house and invading other houses nearby. Brian and his wife, with their limited funds, were able to get sufficient lending from the bank and offered to buy the house and do it themselves to improve the neighborhood, or rent it out, as there's a massive shortage of rental properties in our local county. Greedy Karen did not want to sell, nor did she want to spend a cent on the house to remedy the rodent problem. She also did not care about the effect the house was having on the aesthetics of the street. It is important to know that Karen and her wealthy family have over 100 rental properties, and due to lax tax laws in this region, they do not pay a cent and can get tax write-offs when their properties deteriorate, then can claim on this as a loss. Long story short, some of them appear to be leeches on our society, and are one of the reasons property prices are so high, and rent prices are skyrocketing in our area. Her husband is also the chairman of the State Landlords Association, an association that he often fronts the media for, defending landlords, and putting a good media spin on them when there is negative press. Fast forward 5 years, and Brian finds out the house is going to be demolished, to make way for some new houses to go in on the small section. That's good news at least, though Brian and his wife were anxious about how smoothly the demolition would go, due to the fact the houses are quite close to each other. This is important for later. Prior to demolition, the company doing it had to get samples from all sides of the house, to check for asbestos. Either Karen made it difficult for the company to get down the side bordering Brian's house, or they simply were too lazy, but only samples from 3 sides, not 4, were taken. Demolition day came around, and Brian was concerned that no safety barriers had been put up to protect his house from falling bricks of the chimney, nor was there anything from stopping dust and debris going all over his new deck and porch area. Later that day, Brian had the pleasure of meeting Keith. Keith is the demolition company manager that is well known around the district for only caring about money, and has little regard for people or property. Keith was doing the demolition himself today simply with a digger. Brian returned home during his break at work to check the progress of the demolition, and found the demolition was already complete. After only an hour or so, the demolished house was in a pile. He climbed up on his roof, and to his disbelief, found hundreds of bricks had fallen onto his roof, causing damage, though he was lucky none had fallen through into the house. Brian phoned up demolition man Keith to ask about what went wrong. Keith initially played down the damage, despite there being 200 bricks laying on Brian's roof. Even with the damage done, no apology, and the rude attitude of Keith, Brian kept his cool. Since I did a little bit of roofing when I was younger, I can fix up the roof, if you just get me 4 new sheets of roofing iron, and we will call it even. Don't worry about paying for paint, I can sort that out when I paint the whole roof after the fall. Brian's roof was not in the best of shape, but it was in much worse shape, after having bricks dumped on it leaving massive dents, and chipping the paint. This is the moment that a simple decision on Keith's part, would screw him and the landlord big time. Not happening, pal, your roof is effed anyway, I'll get you a sheet of second-hand roofing iron, from my yard, to repair the damage on the roof. And I can come and hose off the dust off your deck and dog kennel. Cue the nuclear revenge. The revenge was not intentionally nuclear, but Brian had a dilemma, that his roof was damaged and he needed it repaired. There was rain and snow forecast later in the week, and he shouldn't be out of pocket having to buy new materials to fix his own roof up to a good standard. Brian is normally a calm and relaxed man, but this situation, and the way he and his property were treated, sparked anger that I have never seen before. Brian got in contact with his insurance company, and due to the issue involving a roof, a building assessor arrived that day to assess the claim. The assessor would then be able to seek damages from the landlord, or demolition company, if he found them to be at fault. Brian also reported the demolition company to the local health and safety authorities, due to their lack of safety precautions used when doing the demolition. The assessor got onto the roof with Brian, and was mortified to hear how Keith had acted in such disregard with the damage done to the roof, and his lack of an apology for any wrongdoing got the assessor mad. He then looked more concerned, and bent down and picked up some gray fibrous material. Luckily, thanks to COVID, we already have masks on. Brian, this here looks like it is asbestos. I don't know how they got the sign off to get this house knocked down in this manner. You don't know at the time of being exposed to this stuff. But if you breathe in these fibers, it can cause serious diseases later on in life, including lung cancer. I'll get this sent off to the lab for testing and we'll be in touch. Fast forward another day and Brian was contacted by his insurance company. It turns out the side of the house that wasn't tested was clad in asbestos. Not just any bad asbestos, the worst possible type you can get. Insurance will be seeking damages to replace Brian's whole roof, not just the damaged part. The cost of replacement is likely to be around $20,000. This is the cheap part. The demolition site has been shut down by local authorities, and there needs to be a massive decontamination of the area. This involves having to remove at least half a meter of topsoil on surrounding properties, test the soil, and remove more if there is asbestos still found. Areas with decks need to potentially have these removed, so the soil can be evacuated out underneath. The cost for this cleanup will likely be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but who will pay for this is unknown at this stage. Whether it is Keith, or Karen's insurance, or them personally, time will tell. In regards to Brian, his family, and their dog potentially being exposed to the asbestos, that is another battle for them to fight, and I will keep you updated. Update 1. I have just been on the phone to Brian for half an hour. His workplace was very sympathetic, and paid for him to have 2 days off, trying to sort things out. This is in complete contrast to Karen and Keith, who are yet to apologize, and have made life difficult for Brian and his family. Due to the neighboring property being closed off for entry due to the health and safety investigation going on, it means Brian cannot even get scaffolding on his roof yet to fix the roof. Brian is worried now that the landlord is going to try to make his life hell. She is also a lawyer apparently. Karen was the person that offered the old roofing iron apparently, not Keith. She spoke to her husband who said that because the bricks dented the roof, it means it must have been rusty and old, so doesn't need new iron put on. Keith did however go nuts at Brian for getting insurance involved, and also the health and safety investigation unit who are currently doing the investigation. In regards to Brian and family still living in the house, according to the investigator, the risk is negligible and the problems will arise when the debris is removed from the section. This will require a large tent, etc. However, the wind has been strong the last few days, and I feel the risk is still high, living next door to the uncovered broken asbestos cladding that is not being kept damp. Brian asked the investigation office person by phone about what to do about his dog, and if they needed a vet checkup, etc. They were 1 meter away from the fence, which is about a foot from the asbestos, when it was broken up. They responded saying, "Do you think your dog will live more than 20 years? If not, I probably wouldn't worry." Brian is also thinking the landlord is probably scheming revenge of her own. Brian paid for a new fence himself a few years back, to border Karen's rental, as when he moved in the old fence was half falling down. She refused to pay half despite this being law. He reckons because the fence is approximately 10 centimeters too high, she will ask him to cut the height down at his own cost, so it is in perfect position for her new houses that are to be built. Brian's plan is that he will pull the nice expensive fence down entirely and put 600mm high chicken wire mesh up, as this is all that is required by law. And there is nothing she can do about it legally, as he paid for and built the fence. I will continue to keep you all updated. Also, as I know the local newspaper editor, I have offered to go with Brian to discuss this story with them. Once the investigation is completed, if Karen tries to make life difficult, and also expose Keith for his dirty practices. Keith's company has just been awarded a multi-million-dollar contract for the demolition of an old car factory, and this would raise some eyebrows. Update 2. A very small update but not great news. I feel this story, as many have suggested, will not conclude in a warm fuzzy feeling of ultimate revenge as things progress. Firstly, Brian informed me a fence has gone up around the exposed parts of the neighboring property. This is only to stop people from the public going over to debris piles and scavenging, etc., than exposing themselves to the broken asbestos cladding. Brian also needed to take 2 full days off work when this happened to try to sort out all the situations and reduce stress on his wife, talking with all parties involved. So he was down 2 days' wages coming up to Christmas, but his kind boss has paid him special leave for taking them off. The insurance company, after further clarification, will be only paying out for 1/4 of roof and flashings. Brian will have to find funds to pay for the rest. This section of the roof is, however, the most expensive, as it encompasses a large complex parapet gutter, roofing iron, and flashings. Cost? $8,000 / 120K ZAR. I hope I can provide something more substantial in a later update, when there has been more action. Update 3. 9th of January 2021. Wish this update was actually something to update you on, but, alas, it is merely to say due to the Christmas break, etc., nothing has progressed. Brian cannot get his roof fixed until the area beside his house is decontaminated, so the scaffolding can then go up. What are your thoughts on Hassad82's story? Please share in the comments below. Here's how some Reddit members reacted to this story. Tech Eric reacted with, "This is going to be a good one. I have a feeling." Negligently exposing dozens of neighbors to carcinogenic substances, oh yeah. This should definitely be good. Someone is going to have to pay a bitload for that. Russ W. Smith reacted with, "ProRevenge and irresponsible contractors. Name a better duo." What a bunch of great reactions. Now on to the next story, posted by Puzzleheaded Dirt 78. Who posted, "Try to blackmail me? I'll ruin your life. Throw away, because this could be a real problem for me, career-wise, if the phone sex company I work for found out. Also obligatory, I'm on mobile, apology for formatting." This happened a few years ago. I was maybe 26 at the time. I am a trans man, but present feminine, and work as a professional dominatrix as a woman. I do a lot of work through a popular phone sex website. I had a client contact me on there, and get my Skype ID. Sometimes clients want to chat there, it's not technically allowed by the site toes, but they turn a blind eye because of money. And he messaged me to negotiate a session. He complained about my rates, demanded I do stuff I'm not comfortable with. I don't get fully nude on cam calls, I don't talk about having clients touch me sexually, I don't do sessions as a sub. And eventually threatened me with bad reviews, and to report me to the site. And said I didn't want to show him my junk, because I was a very nasty word for a trans woman. Ironic, I know. He called me every name in the book, and I blocked him and thought nothing of it. I'd been with that site 5 years, and made them hundreds of thousands over the course of them, so I wasn't worried. However, a little later, he pops up again with a new account, and screen name a few days later, threatening violence and accusing me of stealing from him. I screen cap this and send it to the site. They say there's nothing they can do about him creating multiple accounts, but ban them as they occur. I block him again, and think maybe he'll give up. Nope. A few days later, there's a new account that talks in the same tone, demands the same crap, etc. So this time, with all the usernames he's used, I take to Google, and what do I find? But other PSOs who dealt with him complaining about him. I message some of them about what's happening, and one gets back to me super fast. She says he's been harassing her for years, telling her he hoped she'd have a miscarriage when she was pregnant, threatening her boyfriend. At this point I'm furious, not only on my behalf, but on behalf of everyone else he's pulled this crap with. She tried to go to the cops, no help there of course, but this fool had given her a ton of personal info, from his full name to his address. I am a pretty good internet detective, thanks to my line of work, so I start Googling, and putting together info. I find everything, and I mean everything, from his mom's name, the date of his dad's death, to his girlfriend's name, to the crappy band he played in high school, where he works, and who his landlord is. I call everyone politely informing them of what this little crap is up to. His mom, his girlfriend, his everybody. I call his GF at work, just to make sure she gets it. He contacts me on Kik, demanding a response, and threatening to sue me for harassment. I laugh my butt off, and explain how that doesn't work, and that if he contacts me again, I'll sue him for harassment, and show him the statutes on it where we live. You have to tell the person to stop contacting you, before it can be harassment. I'd told him multiple times to stop bothering me, but he'd only ever demanded that I do talk to him. After that, I did stop contacting him, but I gave all the info I'd dug up, to the other PSOs, to do with as they liked. The last time I checked, he was living with his brother in a truly crappy looking apartment and tweeting about how no one will hire him because people are mean, and about how much he hates women. Edit to clarify. Before this, he seemed to have a pretty nice life, a pretty girlfriend working in real estate, a job in tech, and was renting a pretty nice / big house in a nice town. I googled him just now, and there are multiple places where, if you Google his name, it shows you just what kind of person he is. Random 1221 reacted with, "Dang, you destroyed him. He sounded so miserable, what the F. And wow, you made 100,000 as a PSO. The heck, I need to look into that, now that I'm unemployed." The sensible centrist reacted with, "He wanted a dominatrix, he got one." JHK17 reacted with, "I don't harass people on the internet, but I'm terrified of you." And finally, the Sponge Brain reacted with, "That ain't deserving of the title ProRevenge. It's deserving of the title Professional Revenge. Shortening the word doesn't do justice for the precision strike you dropped on that creep." Well, there you have it. A perfectly great question answered by a bunch of fine and honorable citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off, thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. I think he found more drama for me to share with you. See you soon.